There's a guy in Manhattan who makes $850,000 a year as a tech VP. Every morning, he orders the same thing from a bougie coffee shop near his office: a $12 cold brew with oat milk, a $22 ashoy bowl, and a $13 avocado toast. Total $47 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. That's $11,750 spent on breakfast annually. He doesn't think about it. It's automatic. It's convenient. And besides, he makes $850,000. What's 47 bucks? Here's what it actually is. Over 30 years invested at a conservative 8% return, that breakfast ritual costs him $340,000. He didn't buy breakfast. He bought the absence of $250,000. Now compare that to Mackenzie Scott, ex-wife of Jeff Bezos, worth $35 billion. When asked about her daily routine, she mentioned making her own coffee at home and eating simple breakfasts, not because she can't afford the fancy stuff, because she understands something the VP doesn't. One of them gets it. The other one is on a treadmill disguised as a career. My name is Evan, and I've spent the last 5 years studying the spending habits of people who actually built wealth versus people who just rent the appearance of it. If you've ever wondered why making more money doesn't feel like you thought it would, or why your bank account doesn't reflect your income, smash that subscribe button. Today we're breaking down what I call the invisible leak, and plugging it is the difference between retiring at 65, broke, or retiring at 50, free. Here's what shocked me when I started tracking this. The wealthiest people I studied had something in common that had nothing to do with how much they earned. They all had shockingly low burn rates. Ray Dalio, founder of the world's largest hedge fund, worth $15 billion, reportedly drives a relatively modest car and lives in a house that, while nice, is nowhere near what you'd expect for someone at his level. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, lived in the same house for 70 years, died worth $2.6 billion. The house, bought for $43,000 in 1953. Meanwhile, I know a 29-year-old marketing director in Austin making $180,000 who just signed a lease on a luxury apartment for $4,200 a month because it has good natural light and a rooftop pool. She Ubers everywhere. $600 a month. She has a Peloton subscription she uses twice a month. $44, a premium Spotify, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Apple Plus, Disney Plus, stack. Another $80, monthly blowouts at the salon, $250. On LinkedIn, she looks successful. On a spreadsheet, she's running a 96% expense-to-income ratio. One bad quarter at her company, and she's 3 months from catastrophe. The billionaires, they could lose 99% of their wealth tomorrow and still never worry about money again. The difference isn't the income, it's the gap. Let me show you how this works in real time. The average American has 12 subscription services. Most don't even remember what they all are. Let's be conservative and say you're paying $200 a month across all of them. Streaming, apps, software, gym memberships you don't use, meal kits you forgot to cancel. That's $2,400 a year. But that's not the real cost. The real cost is what that $2,400 per year becomes over 25 years compounded at 8%. $175,000. You didn't buy entertainment. You bought the deletion of a down payment on a house. And here's the kicker. Billionaires use maybe 3 subscriptions. They ruthlessly audit everything that auto charges, not because they're stingy, because they understand that every recurring charge is a slow bleed on their optionality. Jeff Bezos has said he makes very few decisions per day. The small stuff, what to eat, what to wear, what apps to pay for, is automated to the absolute minimum. Why? Because decision energy is finite, and he's saving it for billion-dollar moves. You're spending yours deciding between Spotify and Apple Music. There's a study from Stanford in 2017 that found something fascinating. The anticipation of a purchase triggers more dopamine than the purchase itself. Read that again. You get a bigger chemical high from adding something to your cart than from actually owning it. This is why you have a closet full of clothes you wore once, why you have gadgets still in their boxes, why your garage has a treadmill covered in dust next to the bike you swore you'd ride. The buying felt good. The owning feels like clutter. Smart money knows this. They delay purchases, not forever, just long enough for the dopamine to wear off and reality to set in. If you still want it in 30 days, maybe it's worth it, but 80% of the time, the craving fades. You just saved money on something you never actually wanted. You just wanted the feeling of wanting it. I started doing this 2 years ago. I keep a maybe later list. Every time I want to buy something over $100, it goes on the list with a 30-day timer. My purchase rate dropped by 70%. My regret rate dropped to 0. Here's where people misunderstand the ultra-wealthy. They don't hate luxury. They hate inefficiency. A private chef who saves them 10 hours a week? Worth it. That's buying time to build their empire. A $300,000 sports car that sits in traffic and depreciates 20% the moment they drive it off the lot? Waste. That's buying a liability that drains cash and attention. Elon Musk famously sold most of his real estate portfolio, not because he couldn't afford it, because houses are anchors. They demand maintenance, property tax, insurance, attention. He converted those assets into liquid capital he could deploy into Tesla and SpaceX. The middle-class mindset says, I made it, time to spend it. The wealth-building mindset says, I made it, time to multiply it. Every dollar is either working for you or against you. There's no neutral. Instagram didn't invent the comparison game, but it weaponized it. You're not just comparing yourself to your neighbor anymore. You're comparing yourself to a global feed of curated highlight reels, half of which are financed with debt, the other half can barely afford. According to a 2021 study in the Journal of Consumer Research, people who spend more than 2 hours a day on social media spend an average of 23% more annually than those who don't. Why? Because you're constantly being sold an upgraded version of your life. Better vacation, better car, better skin, better kitchen, better everything. The ultra-wealthy largely opt out of this game. Buffett doesn't have Instagram. Bezos posts maybe twice a year. Munger never touched it. They're not in the race to impress strangers because they realize something critical. Status is a black hole. There's always someone with more. If you try to keep up with a billionaire, you'll go broke. If a billionaire tries to keep up with a Saudi prince, they'll go broke. The only winning move is to stop playing. Let me show you what this looks like over a career. 2 people. Same job. Both start at $65,000 at age 25. Both get a 4% raise every year. Person A. Every time they get a raise, they upgrade something. Nicer apartment. Nicer car. More trips. Better restaurants. By 50, they're making $175,000, but their expenses have scaled with their income. They save 10% consistently, same as they did at 25. Person B gets the same raises, but they lock their lifestyle at $65,000. Every raise goes straight into investments. Same apartment, same car, same restaurants. At age 50, Person A has approximately $520,000 saved. Person B has approximately $1.8 million saved. Same income, same job, same career. A $1.28 million difference explained entirely by lifestyle lock. The gap between what you earn and what you spend isn't a detail. It's the entire game. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people don't want to hear. Research from Princeton University found that emotional well-being rises with income up to about $75,000 to $90,000 per year. After that, the curve flattens. Making $200,000 doesn't make you twice as happy as making $100,000. But it does make you spend twice as much if you're not careful. The billionaires figured this out early. They found a baseline of comfort, safe, clean, functional, pleasant, and they stopped there. They refused to pay the upgrade tax for diminishing returns. Because here's what happens when you upgrade. For about 90 days, you love it. The new car smell, the bigger closet, the fancy espresso machine. Then it becomes normal. Your happiness set point returns to baseline, but the payments don't return to baseline. They stay high, forever. You're paying a permanent premium for a temporary bump. Smart money refuses this trade. Now here's the twist most people miss. The modest lifestyle didn't come after the wealth, it came before. Bezos was driving a Honda Accord when Amazon was already worth billions. Zuckerberg was wearing the same hoodie when Facebook was exploding. They didn't become frugal because they got rich. They got rich because they were frugal. Every dollar they didn't spend on lifestyle inflation was a dollar they poured into their companies, into investments, into asymmetric bets that compounded into fortunes. The consumption comes last, not first. If you're waiting until you're rich enough to start living below your means, you've got it backwards. Living below your means is how you become rich enough. All right, enough theory. Here's the playbook. Step 1. Define your baseline. Right now, write down the income level where you'd feel genuinely comfortable. Not aspirational, not Instagram-worthy. Actually comfortable. Safe home, reliable car, good food, time with people you love. For most people, that number is shockingly lower than they think. Lock that in. Commit to it. As your income rises, that baseline stays frozen. Step 2. Automate the capture. The moment you get a raise, before you see the bigger paycheck, increase your automatic investment contribution by the full amount of the raise. If you get a $10,000 raise, your lifestyle doesn't change at all. The entire $10,000 goes straight into index funds or retirement accounts. You can't spend money you never see. Step 3. The 200x rule. Before any purchase over $100, multiply the cost by 200. That's roughly what it would become over 30 years at 8% returns. A $500 gadget? That's a $100,000 decision. When you see the real price tag, the dopamine fades fast. Step 4. Audit the leaks. Go through your bank statements from the last 3 months. Highlight every recurring charge. Cancel anything you don't actively use weekly. No guilt? No, but I might use it. If you haven't used it in 60 days, it's gone. Step 5. Curate your feed. Unfollow anyone whose content makes you feel like your life isn't enough. Unfollow the luxury car accounts, the watch collectors, the travel influencers. Follow people building businesses, sharing knowledge, creating value. Your inputs shape your outputs. Choose them ruthlessly. That Manhattan VP with the $47 breakfast, he's 38 now, makes $850,000. And he's starting to panic because his savings rate is 8% and he just realized he can't retire for another 25 years. Mackenzie Scott? She could stop everything tomorrow and live comfortably for 50,000 lifetimes. One is trapped, one is free. The difference wasn't luck, it wasn't talent, it wasn't even income. It was the gap. So here's your homework. Find one recurring expense this week. Just one. Cancel it. Take that money and invest it. Watch it grow. Feel the difference between the fleeting dopamine of spending and the lasting dopamine of ownership. Once you feel that shift, everything changes. The people who need to look rich will keep performing for each other. Let them. You'll be busy building something that actually lasts. If this reframed how you see money, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.